isn't the Orville music.
Oops, I messed up.
Oh, well.
That's okay. It's good music anyway.
I just wish I got paid every time it got played.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Tonight's Edge After Dark. We're going to be talking about the Orville, aren't we?
That's right.
Yay!
Episode 5, All the World is Birthday Cake.
All the world is birthday cake, so take a piece, but not too much. All right, people. Okay. Fade into the background. All right. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Let me bring up the chat here. How's it going, everybody out there? It's Saturday night. It's a goofier than usual show, isn't it?
Well, it's our Orville review, but hey, Orville's loose. How's everybody doing out there? That, of course, was Mr. Rob Gallo, the voice of Midnight's Edge. I'm Tom Connors, and with us, as always, is Miss Meccaran.
It was. Where is he? He owes me money.
I was trying to help stretch for you. So you can get shit.
Oh, I'm like that.
Tom Connors, and with us, as always, is Miss Meccaran.
I'm like that James McAvoy guy now. Yeah, I'm trying to bring up the chat here. I'm trying to pop up the chat. That's why I hear that. I'm like that James McAvoy guy from Split. I got multiple personalities. So hey, who said that? So
it wasn't me. I didn't do it.
24 to be exact, I think it was. But anyway, so yeah, we're going to talk some Orville. Everybody loves Orville.
That's
don't you
right.
guys? If you're here,
Yes.
you probably love Orville. All the 36 of you out there listed, 38. Richie Poole, we got Blue Cat, Joker 79, Mary Highland, all the regulars are hanging in there. Eric Kelly, Big Gator 5, good to see you. Terry Light, let's get some things rolling. What do you say? What was this episode?
Okay. Good episode. All the world is birthday cake.
It was a good episode, but I don't think it was the best episode. I think I had some issues with it, but
yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll get into that.
It was about people and things.
It's always about people.
Actually about Star Trek. It was about first contact with like aliens and stuff that we don't get to see on Discovery, stuff we don't get to see on Star Trek anymore.
Well, I got some thoughts about STD, but we'll save those till later.
Well, that's what's
oh man, I
can smell that from here, and I'm like 2 time zones away.
I did. I had beans and franks actually. Franks and beans, whatever. What order do you say? Beans and franks or franks and beans?
Frank and beans.
Okay, I remember Ren and Stimpy, that little slab of white stuff in your pork and beans. In the can of beans.
Yeah, the queen bean.
Yeah, the queen bean. and the rest of the worker beans that serve it.
Maybe it just gets nasty out there by the time it gets out there or something. Because here, every time I've had that's supposed to be bacon, guys. It's a little chunk of bacon for taste.
Okay. Okay, well let's
get white.
Into this.
No,
the fat is all must be what's left by the time it gets out there, because every time I've had one, the full chunk is still there. I don't know what you guys are doing.
I've done things I shouldn't do.
See, this is what you don't hear on Collider or Easy Allies. You see, this kind of talk. You don't get this kind of stuff. That's why you come here. Phrasing.
Well, they're here now for some Orville, so let's talk Orville.
Yeah. All right. This episode was titled "All the World Is Birthday Cake," a reference to the Beatles song "It's All Too Much" from Yellow Submarine, and reference to actually Kelly and Bortus's birthday. So actually, it opens with actually you see the I can't remember what the names of the aliens were, but they're on the planet. They have they're debating whether or not to send a signal out. So they said, okay, they finally decide, and they're debating back and forth. Okay, we're doing it. They thought maybe their society wasn't ready, but they decided, screw it, we're going. And so they sent a signal out and said, let's keep it simple. Is there anyone out there? Hello, is there anybody out there? Boy, full of classic rock. Full of classic rock references this episode.
Well, and this was interesting because it was like it was basically they had like the giant SETI array just to kind of project their message out there.
Mm-hmm.
And we found out that was one of the Planetary Union's kind of rules of who they talk to, like kind of their version of the Prime Directive. If they want to have contact and can contact us, then we go and say hi instead of just pre-warp. So, or if they can get out there themselves.
Yeah. So anyway, it's good. You know, like I said, they they don't the Union does not initiate first contact. Somebody has to initiate first contact, then they respond. So that's actually pretty good rule there. So anyway, they get the signal, and actually it took a couple years. Did you notice that?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't send the signal, and then they just 24 hours later, hey, we got a call here.
Well, yeah,
we better pick up.
Like they actually have sort of a sense of this is a pre-technologically advanced society, so they would just be using radio waves and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And actually, yeah, and somebody points that out. Actually, we get our first look at Jessica Zor as Tala. I can't remember her last name.
I don't remember, but she's also what's Alara's race?
Tala. She's Selene.
Selene.
Tala Kilai. I just kidding. Tala Kilai. I like her. I like it.
I like her too. She's sassy.
I didn't really care for her.
Oh, I like her. Okay. She was sarcastic. She was fun. I thought, okay, she's gonna be like the tough chick. She's gonna be like the Ivanova.
I want Alara back. I don't like her. I don't know. I don't take some getting used to.
Well, I like that she's a different personality type, because Alara was very much a timid, not sure of herself sort of person. Mm-hmm. And this girl, she's got balls, she's got confidence, she's, she punched her captain, we find out.
Yes.
Yeah, she's fun. I mean, she's very sarcastic. She makes a lot of one-liners. I like her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious now that somebody at CBS is leaking the scripts to the Orville.
Yes.
Because this episode and the episode of Star Trek Discovery have pretty much the same exact plot. Not exact, but a similar element.
Yeah, I mean, there's
yeah.
Well, it's kind of a traditional kind of Star Trek. Yeah,
they're very standard tropes anyway. I thought the STD episode was closer to an episode of Enterprise than it was the Orville.
Yeah, we'll get to that when we get to Star Trek. But yeah, this continue with the story, because then we'll get into
anyway. So anyway, all is good. Yeah, and they meet. There's a big to do. I like how they initiated first contact. They took the shuttle down. I love that little banter between Kelly and Ed. But first the excitement of the first contact. I enjoyed seeing that. Everybody's preparing, because we don't usually see that. If they're preparing, they're getting the medical kits. Everybody's getting ready. They want to make sure it goes well. They put the Planetary Union's best foot forward, and they meet like in the public square. Looks like in front of an official building. And I like the little banter. Maybe we should make up names. How would they know? Nah, I got a feeling they'll catch on. So I like that little banter. So yeah,
I think they would find out eventually.
Yeah. So, but I like on behalf of the Planetary Union, welcome to the galaxy. And he puts his hand out, and they're like, and he has to figure out, oh, this is how you say hello. Okay. And and it looks like a fairly kind of normal society, except when they get to the hospital. And they notice there's a lot of premature births, and they're performing a C-section, and and they says, oh, it's to prevent the child from becoming born celiac. Like, celiac? What the heck is celiac? And so there's a big formal dinner, and then Ed says, they give speeches, and Ed says he's ripped off a couple of he's ripped off in like 9 different places, and Kelly says that it's going to be her birthday, and as long with Bortus's birthday, and that's sort of like a running kind of subplot: Bortus's birthday and Kelly's birthday. And then they're immediately arrested and taken into custody, and they were born celiac. I'm like, what? And you keep hearing that word, celiac. What's celiac? Celiac. And they take tooth samples, and from Ed and the rest of the crew, and they finally figure out later it's the entire planet is being run by astrology, by everybody's birth sign. Your birth sign determines your place in society, how your social rank, what kind of job titles you'll have. Pretty much like a social caste system.
Right. And anybody born under a bad sign pretty much gets thrown in prison and for the rest of their lives because they're predetermined to be violent killers.
Yes. And actually there's a Star Trek episode. Hold on.
I think they mentioned it earlier in the chat here. First Contact,
there was
season 5.
No. The Cloud Minders. So there's a Star Trek episode.
There are a lot like Stargate that had this sort of plot too, where you go make first contact and the planet's really cool, and then there's not like they seem at all. So it's a real standard kind of sci-fi trope.
Yeah, but actually, like I said, there's an episode from the original series, of season 3, called the Cloud Minders, where there's sort of an permanent underclass society, and they work in the mines, and the enlightened people work up in the clouds, in the stratosphere, and they've elevated themselves, and they believe anyone who works in the mines is inferior, but it was the gas. It was the gases that made them corrupt. But anyway, so it kind of reminded me of that. And so they're trying to track down the reason why they believe this. And it goes back 3,000 years. I'm like, they have no idea. And it's Tala who comes up with the idea. But she didn't really. She had an idea, but she said launch. She says scan this part of space where the constellation Gilead is, and what are we looking for? A black hole. That's a star. And they figure out a star disappearing to a primitive society would have been catastrophic. And that sort of warped their whole perception. And in the meantime, Kelly and Bortus are in a prison camp. They try to escape, and that doesn't go well. And there's a baby born in the prison camp, and that was a great moment when Kelly and Bortus helping to deliver the baby. That was a great moment. That was great. I love that.
Well, he had such a good line in there too. Because Kelly calls for Bortus to go and help, and she's like, "Well, you have a kid. You should have experience or something." And what did he say? What was the exact line? It was
they waited for like a beat, and then he's like, "Well, will there be an egg?"
Yeah.
will there be an egg?
I love Bortus.
Then there's a callback to it after it's all done. He's like, "It's much easier when there's an egg."
Yeah,
he's the best. I love Bortus is the best. But that was a great scene, and there's the whole scene. They have to hide the baby, very very much like an allegory of World War II, the Holocaust, and for racism.
Yeah, that's what he says. Sorry, thank you, Mary Highland.
Yeah. Like I said, very much an allegory for racism and the Holocaust, and actually what's going on today down at the border.
Mm-hmm.
Imprisoning certain people because of who they are, what they where they were born, and when. So, but anyway, let's get back to that. And so they come up with a plan. So Ed, their time's running out. They're in orbit actually for quite a while. They're in orbit for over a month, trying to get Kelly and Bortus out. And who is the admiral that we see makes a guest appearance? Ted Danson,
just for no reason.
That's cool.
No, that's cool though.
I know.
Which hopefully means we'll see him more often this year. It's always nice to see him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, and wasn't the head of the one alien race? Isn't that one guy from God? What the hell is his name? Drawing a complete blank. I'll have to look it up now. Anyway.
Okay, well, over to IMDb. But so anyway, Lamar comes up with an idea to bring back they said they have to bring back the star to get them out, since they can't go in guns blazing, and lead an extraction team. So they come up with the idea of launching a solar sail to reflect the sunlight. And actually, you think about it, it's a really good idea. And it works, and they think the star is back, and it brings change to the society. Kind of violates the Prime Directive, though. But anyway, they kind of have to. I think they kind of have to look the other way in this situation. their people are out. We interfere with our society, but we've, the society is pretty screwed up to begin with.
Well, I kind of interpreted that as they decided, well, we're just gonna fake this because they probably don't want anything to do with us anyway, because they kind of view us as all being, chaotic heathens because we don't follow astrology. But no, that was actually one of like a few little plot plot issues I had. When Kelly and Bortus, well, we haven't gotten there yet, but
well, anyway, yeah, they're about to execute Kelly and Bortus for trying to escape. And Bortus is actually a bad mofo. He really is. You don't want to mess with Bortus. He takes down like a half a dozen guys. So, but anyway, the star reappears, and so they get off the hook. And actually, Tala asks what happens when they figure out when it's a satellite, when the star's not really there. He goes, and it's like, that's a good question. And they actually admit, Ed's like, no, that's a good question. By the time they figure it out, they may not care. Things might have changed enough that it won't matter to them. So anyway, they'll be long gone. So anyway, and then it was actually the really funny moment with Bortus and Clyden, where they see the little cartoon of Kelly and Bortus dancing. What is so funny? It is amusing.
And Carter Baker in the chat brings up I didn't really like this episode as much. I'll be fully honest.
Yeah, same here.
It was a good episode.
He goes, I think it's a better argument would have been they were born under completely different constellations since they were not born on that planet. And yeah, it would have been a short episode though then. And I think that's the problem, is this one kind of seemed lazy.
A little bit, yeah. Like they had set up,
but
it seemed a little rushed. Actually, some of you and I think Gary actually brought this up over Nerdrotic. It seemed a little rushed. It seemed like it would have been better as Gary and Susan were saying. It would seem like it would have been better as a 2-part episode.
Well, not just that, they should have come up with a little bit better hook, because the hook for the episode was just, come on. I mean, really? I mean, I get it to a point, but they were taking it to an extreme. And it was like
it seemed like the second they realized that there was life outside of their own solar system, that's when they should have said, "Oh shit, maybe astrology isn't our thing."
They bring that up, and Mercer brings that up too, and it's brought up a couple times in the episode, which is fine. I mean, at least they're acknowledging that, but I mean, Anthony Altieri also says, but keep in mind that the planet has no concept of the stars being being different on another planet. Well, right, but that's just it. You should be able to make a logical argument. Yeah, and then that's the other thing, Anthony Altieri. That's the other problem I brought, is why they felt the need to capture them. He's like, my problem was, if these people are so evil, then why aren't they just happy to let them leave the planet? Yeah, why didn't they just let them leave? And that would have been fine too. You could have still had the episode to where they're at least sitting there going, well, wait, we can't just let them imprison these people for no reason. You know what I mean? You could have
they had up the stakes, really.
Yeah, to a point, but even in most situations, any diplomatic situation, they're not just going to arrest some outsiders. It makes no logical sense. They may hold them for a little bit until some kind of negotiation, perhaps, but first of all, if they're so, it's like I look at it this way, and he's got a point, because that's kind of where I was thinking, is like, okay, if you're so worried about people that are born under the sign being so evil, then why would you want outsiders that are evil within your compound, disrupting things and poisoning the minds of people who already think they're lower life forms because they're born under that sign already? It would just disrupt things. Exactly what happened. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. These people seem so logical to a point, and then it ended there. I think it was really piss poor kind of planning and writing on their part, as far as, and which is sad, because Seth wrote this episode. I noticed that. And it had some great moments. It's a great episode. If it was a Star Trek episode, like if this was an STD episode, I probably would have enjoyed it, but I'm not going to get into that part because that's 2 different shows. But I don't know. It was one of my least favorite shows.
Yeah. Well, this kind of, and again, it sort of reminds me too of the Doomsday Machine as well. I mean, like I said, you know, at the same time, like, why don't you just let Kirk go if, you know, they have nothing to do with the war they're fighting? And so, oh, well, they're just caught up in it. Ed and the crew are just caught up in this world now. That's kind of the same thing.
Right. And don't get me wrong, I like the show.
It was good. It was a good episode. Not the strongest this season, but it was still good.
No, and that's just it. The preceding episodes have been so damn good that in comparison, this one pales. But now, like, say, if this was in the first season, it probably would have been one of the better episodes because the second season has just dwarfed the first season in comparison. I mean, it's come to a point where the critics can't even deny how good it is. That's why, even if whether or not they're being Disney shills or not at this point.
The critics can deny it because diversity, because it doesn't have enough diversity. Don't you know it has a white male as a captain? Don't you know that? There's not enough diversity. It has to have more diversity because we are the wakest woke that ever wake the woke. Don't you know that, Mr. Tom Connors, Mr. White Male?
And I see Anthony Altieri agrees with me. If this wouldn't have followed last week's episode, last week's episode was so damn good. But
it makes the weird little plot points stand out more, and I think that was my problem with this episode. It had like weird setups, weird payoffs. Kelly and Bortus decide at one point that they're going to break out of prison because we're born under the sign anyway, and it doesn't go anywhere. The solution is from the stars.
Yeah, that was stupid. And that's where I said, like, their thing on the planet, that's where maybe another rewrite would have helped out because their thing on the planet doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
You need them in there just long enough to see how these people are living and how they view themselves, and then you can get them out of there because they're pointless for being there after that.
Yeah.
Other than to deliver the baby. That was it.
Yeah.
And then because they go around murdering all these guards, too.
Oh.
You're right, because they commit more crimes.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
just kind of a clunker of an episode. I mean, it's still better. It's a million times better than Discovery. This is still better than one of the best episodes of Discovery.
Right. Well, that's just the problem. Is like I can't be so down on something like Discovery for making stupid mistakes and let Orville get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was too many in this episode. It was still a decent show. It was still very entertaining. I was still watched it, through and had
great cast moments, great character interactions. The doctor
kept you invested in it.
Oh yeah, the doctor is brilliant. I'm loving Claire so much. She's just so brilliant, so amazing. She's the first person to notice there's something up because of the C-section. She's just right on point. I really love her character. She's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, Anthony Altieri thought the same thing I did too. Why is it such that they speak English and the only word they have different is the Gilead word? It's like that makes sense.
It's kind of like an entry-level writing sort of script.
Yeah, Who wrote this? Seth write this one?
Seth did all by himself, I believe, from what I remember from the credits. But I believe this one might have been directed by. It
was directed by Robert Duncan McNeil, Tom Paris from Voyager.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's still a very competent episode, but this is one if I was in the writer's room and I've been like, look, this needs another rewrite. Let's push this till later. You know what I mean? Maybe just throw whatever the bit with the new recruit in some other episode, maybe. Because it just I don't know. I don't want to keep going off about it and sound like I just
Seth MacFarlane did write this one. Like I said, this easily could have been a 2-part episode. I think I probably should have been a 2-part episode.
Because they needed something where the people on the planet needed to decide whether or not they were ready to kind of be out there exploring space if their beliefs were such a way. And I think they needed to rewrite it to make it so that they changed their entire society once they realized, oh shit, our astrology doesn't apply to anything else in the galaxy. And I think that's where the episode should have been, where it should have headed.
Or kind of in the direction you're going, Mecca, but even a little bit more so. Maybe it would have been more interesting and an understandable episode if they would have had it to where their showing up would have shook their entire system.
Yeah.
Like you had half of society being like, well, we can't have these outsiders there, Gilead, whatever. And then the other half's like, well, we're just living in primitive ways. You know what I mean? Where you just create this ultimate, just almost like we got now. kind of we're just like a certain stream of events just create this chasm between everybody. And so you have like Mercer and them being like, oh, fuck, we just divided this entire nation that was completely peaceful before our first contact and we fucked up an entire world. Just like,
well, that's actually happened in Stargate. I think a couple of different times. And I think that's kind of why I would have rather seen something like that, because this just really had a few little plot holes that could have been, like you said, just one more rewrite.
Because they seemed logical enough that they would have listened to the whole situation and been like, duh, of course, we're following this stupid archaic system that makes no sense. And then the other part of the people will be like, no, well, that's our religion, We've followed this for however many years, and it's kept us completely crime-free and all that kind of crap, to where it would have created this, conflict. But anyway, it's still a good episode.
Yeah, like I said, just it needed another rewrite, and maybe it needed another, like I said, need some tweaking over here and there. It seems like Seth could have benefited from someone else coming in and just adding to it. But again, you bring back, this actually comes up few similarities to the TNG episode First Contact as well, where Riker goes down. I lost the guitar pick, damn it. Where Riker goes down to a planet and he's scouting things out on a recon mission, and he gets injured. He's in the hospital, and they're just on the cusp of warp technology. And there are certain people. There's a guy who's high up in the government. He does not want to open up the planet to aliens, and like I said, it needed a little bit more nuance from that in that regard. That episode did it a lot better, and BB Newirth actually guest stars in that episode as a nurse who wants to do it with an alien. So, well,
okay, now I'm remembering it.
Yeah. No, that part you remember. So, yeah.
I've done things.
Giggity.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, but anyway,
let's wrap this up. So we can go talk some STD.
Do we have to?
Yeah.
Sadly, yes.
No.
I think we've pretty much covered everything there is to cover in this episode, unless somebody out there in the audience thinks we haven't.
And I do want to clarify, I'm just nitpicking. I'm looking for something to like improve on, to criticize, just so I don't come across as like, yes, I love everything that the Orville does because I hate STD and I'm loving it to spite it. No, it does have some flaws. It's a minor nitpick. It's still better than, like, I spoiler, we're going to come up on what I find is probably one of the best STD episodes.
That's a low bar.
Yeah, so this is still better than that. So 1,000 times better than that. So just kind of for clarification.
Yeah, best and probably a very confusing episode. Well, I'll get into that later. Okay. But anyway, I love Jessica Zor.
Yeah, I love Jessica
Zor. Yeah, and actually former Seth MacFarlane girlfriend too. So Seth has this family of actors and actresses that he employs. Not complaining. I mean, it works well for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You always know what you're gonna get with like the why not, right?
Yeah. I'm like the tough chick. I'm like, ooh, where have you been all my life? Yeah. So anyway, so
yellow.
So anyway, I don't know. Anything else to say? Any final thoughts on this episode?
It was good. It's not one of the better ones. Unfortunately, it's probably more of the timing than the episode itself. But other than that, yeah, it was decent, but not the best.
6.5 out of 10, maybe, for me.
Yeah, 6 or 7. I mean, it wasn't bad. I don't want to make anybody think like it was a horrible episode. Or
oh no, it was still fun. Great character development, great interactions, great Bortus lines. So it falls into my rule again of what's like good movies and TV shows are quotable, bad movies and TV shows quote other shows. Yeah, so you had some great quotable lines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like I said, good, not great. Last week's was better. I said nice, and I'm gonna miss Patrick Warburton though. That's the
one. He might be back.
Yeah, you never know.
I almost would rather have him. I'll be honest. But anyhow, it just to me this seems like a 2.0 kind of thing. But anyhow,
yeah. All right, let's wrap this puppy.
Yeah, let's. Tim Riggs, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. He
No,
said,
cha-ching. I
oh,
don't
I
have
got
the sound
it here.
effect.
Hang on. I do. Sorry.
There we go.
Couldn't stop the show for that. But anyway, I'll take minor inconsistencies in a show that has the chops to end well on Cool and the Gang over incompetent writing.
Yes.
All over canon. That is STD, and Kelly is a badass. Oh, I agree. Like I said, I don't want to make everybody feel like didn't like the episode, but I got to be fair. I got to totally be fair. So
Yeah.
but we got our STD review coming up. I tossed the link up there in the chat. I'll do it again here for you guys so you can hop over there and catch us in a few minutes. We're going to start talking some Star Trek Discovery. So, Captain Rob,
which is always fun. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us on the Orville review here. Actually, we're just splitting the audience, but hop on over and we're going to head over and we're going to talk a little Star Trek Discovery, which is always fun. Yay. See you in a couple.